What's up all you Minties? Today the Uncanny Omar, me, gets to talk about my top 10 most wanted DC Absolute Editions. Let me know what yours are after the video. So, let's get started. Welcome back everybody. Before getting started, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. We put out videos every day and all of that helps with our YouTube algorithm and our channel keep growing. Hit that notifications button too to let you know when our videos are going live. We are on Spreadshop where you can get cool designs like this on t-shirts, mugs, hats, whatever you need. And we are on Patreon, and thank you so much to our existing patrons for making videos like this possible. Couldn't do this without you all, seriously. Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 most wanted DC Absolute Editions. If you're not familiar with what a DC Absolute Edition is they're a little bit taller than the Omnibus editions. They come in a nice slipcase, they're all hardcovers, and I will be updating the different types of collected editions video sometime in the next month or so. So keep an eye out on the channel for that, which is important to subscribe. Alright, so this is a countdown. And again, this is my list. Does not make your list invalid. I would love to know what you would love to see in a top 10, top 5 absolute editions from DC Comics. There is going to be an honorable mentions because there's a lot of those. And this list, as always, was hard because, well, it's me. I take way too much time thinking about these things. So, kicking it off with number 10, Gen 13, of course. This rumored deluxe edition that has been coming out, oh my gosh, for over 2 years. It's been canceled time and time again. But I really think that Jeffrey Scott Campbell deserves the oversized artwork. We've had Danger Girl in oversized artwork in Absolute Edition. So I would love to see at least the first 20 issues with the miniseries. And that covers everything that J. Scott Campbell did. I mean, all those 13 covers from Gen 13 number 1, that would be awesome to have just in one collection. Number 9, this is a newer series, but Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerards, of course. And I understand people love and sometimes hate his Batman or his Heroes in Crisis gets a lot of hate. But this series was phenomenal. This series with Mitch Gerards' artwork, with the 9-panel grids that they use, in oversized format would benefit. Oh, it's wonderful. I'm glad they have a deluxe edition, and I would triple dip to get an absolute edition of this because we had trade paperbacks, standard size hardcovers, deluxe editions, and now I would love to see this in an absolute format. I think it deserves it. It's a beautiful story with beautiful artwork. Number 8, one series I don't hear a lot of people talk about, and I don't know why. That's Leave It to Chance. This is by James Robinson, one of my favorite writers of all time, and Paul Smith, one of my favorite X-Men artists of all time. Which is crazy because he only drew like 10 issues of X-Men. So this was originally printed by Image from Wildstorm Studios, and now that DC owns Wildstorm Studios, or they were absorbed by them, I would love to see all 13 issues of this wonderful series just collected in an absolute format. And I think it's had 1 or 2 trades. I don't think the entire series has been collected before. And what better way to introduce new people to the wonderful artwork of Paul Smith than this series? Well, maybe there's another one on here with his art, but we'll get there. Number 7, Tom Strong, Alan Moore, and Chris Sprouse. That compendium edition looks like it's been canceled. It's not in the catalog anymore. I don't know if it's coming out, but I was excited for it because I understand it's not an omnibus, but it's a story that deserves to be collected all in one. There were only 36 issues, I think, of this series. But there were a series of, like, mini-series, too, like Obscura and Terrific Tales. But I would love all of this collected in an oversized format. It's a great story, and I don't know. I don't know why DC doesn't have enough faith in something like this. You have the writer of Alan Moore. You can put his name on it. I think he's okay with putting his name on this particular product of his, unlike other works of his that he doesn't want his name on. But yeah, absolute Tom Strong for sure. Number 6, Superman for All Seasons. Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, 4-issue miniseries, came out in 1998, phenomenal. And I think it really introduces us to the character of Superman. For people not familiar with the character of Superman, well, we already have All-Star Superman. But we've had their work collected in Absolute Edition for Batman, just about, actually, no, everything they've worked on together for Batman, like Dark Victory, Haunted Night, and Long Halloween, has all been collected in Absolute format. I know there's been trade paperbacks. I think there's a deluxe edition of this particular series, but I think it really deserves to be in that Absolute format, especially that Tim Sale, gorgeous backgrounds and the scenery in Kansas. Oh, it's beautiful. Number 5, We 3. Now, this one would be a little bit smaller with about 144 pages or so. But it's, I mean, we've had them small before. We've had Absolute Joker, Absolute Year 1, and it's Grant Morrison, it's Frank Quitely, and beautiful artwork. This is the series that turned me into a Frank Quitely fan. Because I'll be honest, I did not like his new X-Men. I thought his women were really ugly, his dudes looked really awkward, and I did not get why people were fascinated with him. It wasn't until this series that I started appreciating Uncanny Omar talk pretty one day, appreciating his artwork and his layout of panels. I thought that this series really encompassed what he can do. And then eventually I read the All-Star Superman. But this series, it's beautiful, it's heartbreaking, it's homeward bound with a little sci-fi twist. Of course there's, I mean, look at those animals. It's adorable. Number 4. Well, I said you'd see Paul Smith again. James Robinson's Golden Age. The same team that brought you Leave It to Chance had this series years prior to that. This is originally, I think it came out in 1993. It's a 4-issue miniseries, and we're talking about the JSA. We're talking about the Golden Age. It's a love letter to that era of DC Comics, and beautifully done so. So, Paul Smith's artwork, again, in absolute format, it rightly deserves it. This has been released in trade paperback edition. There was a hardcover that came out a few years ago. But I think it's, you know, we're running out of things to collect for absolute editions, as far as classic stories. I'd love to see obscure stories like this that not a lot of people talk about collected in absolute format. Because it's kind of an all-in-one. This has a beginning and an ending, and you don't need to read anything afterwards, but I highly recommend reading Goyer and Robinson's JSA, which leads into Jeff Johns. Number 3. This is more of a recent one, but I really enjoy this creator, and that is the White Knight Absolute Edition by Sean Murphy. So Sean Murphy has made it known that he does not want to work with another writer. He wants to do his own stuff. He wants to be his own writer, which is I respect. This would collect the White Knight, the Curse of the White Knight, and even the Harley Quinn stuff. I'm a big fan of his artwork, huge fan, and I really enjoy those big editions from Image Comics. So I would love to see an absolute edition of this stuff collected in this. I guess it would be the Black Label line. Because we're talking about an alternate reality, but oh man, his stuff is good. And honestly, that first series was solid. Second series, it had its ups and downs. I haven't read the Harley Quinn one, but absolutely, there I go again, would love to see this in a big format as the absolute editions. Number 2, Doomsday Clock. So Doomsday Clock, a lot of people, you know, they're in the middle. It's neither great or bad. It's not what they would say it's a direct follow-up to something like Watchmen, but we are talking about Jeff Johns. We are talking about Gary Frank. Together, they make a lot of great stuff. Together, they did the Superman story, the secret origin story. They did 3 Jokers, which almost made it on the list. But I think this right here, you know, regardless of how people feel, I think it deserves a spot in the Absolute Edition format. And it would go nice with the Watchmen Absolute Edition. Now, before getting to my number 1, I did write down some honorable mentions. Wetworks, the original Whilce Portacio series. Camelot 3000. Damn, to see that Bolin artwork in oversized format like that. Deathblow, this is Jim Lee's period where he's like, I'm going to try out to be like Frank Miller's art style. Let's see what happens. Really fun. The pre-Ellis Stormwatch stuff. I'd like to see that collected. I know, I'm maybe the only one. The Judas Contract, the Teen Titan. I mean, this is George Perez. We're getting an absolute Wonder Woman. Why not get probably the most famous story to come out of his new Teen Titans with Mark Wolfman? Batman Year 2. Yeah, I said it. Batman Year 2. I love that story. I don't care what anybody else says, and that's the beauty of comics and having your own damn opinion. The Year 2 has artwork by Todd McFarlane and Alan Davis. Mike W. Barr. Love it. I want to see more Wildcats in Absolute Edition, but I want to see the Travis Charest era when Alan Moore started writing the book. That almost made it in the top 10. This list is hard. The Donner and Jeff Johns Action Comics. We're talking about the same thing that came out in the deluxe edition. Rest in peace, Richard Donner. Just recently passed away, but it's got beautiful artwork by Adam Kubert. Joe the Barbarian. Of course, Joe the Barbarian. That stuff is awesome. Sean Murphy, Grant Morrison, kid with diabetes. And, it's a beautiful story. And The Cult. That, I think, needs to be in an oversized format. And my number 1 most wanted DC Absolute Edition, Pride of Baghdad. Of course, that Nico Henriken artwork. Holy crap. This heartbreaking, beautiful story written by Brian K. Vaughan, somebody that can just suck you into all these characters and make you care about these characters. We're talking about lions here, right? And we're not talking about anthropomorphic lions that are walking around with business suits and suitcases. We're talking about lions that can just talk. That this is all based on a real story. It will rip your heart out. It's available in trade paperback, deluxe edition, standard size hardcover edition, but this artwork needs to be as big as it can be sold to people because it's a beautiful story that rightly deserves the absolute format treatment. And if any of these books ever come out, check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online source for collected editions up to 50% off retail price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on excellent packaging, so your stuff gets to you in excellent condition, and they have amazing customer service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And for all you Minties that are watching, if you're a first-time customer, don't forget to mention that Near Mint Condition sent you their way for a promotional credit on free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. cheapgraphicnovels.com, your source for the hottest books with deep discounts, customer service, and excellent shipping that will keep you coming back for more. That was my list. I would love to know what your top 10, top 5, top 3, top 20 if you want list of most wanted DC absolutes would be. Leave the comments down below and let me know what you would have taken out of my list, what you think is ridiculous. Don't come at me with that year 2 nonsense about not being a good story. I don't care. I ain't listening. Thank you all so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, ring that bell for notifications, let you know when our videos are going live. Again, we are on Spreadshop and on Patreon. Amazing ways to support the channel. More importantly, all of you, please stay healthy, stay safe, and subscribe because I have more lists coming soon. Much love.